Hi guys, welcome to Chris Ryan Golf. We are again at the Belfry. We're in the Callaway Fitting Suite, and we're going to give you a feeling or an idea that you can have with your irons, which will hopefully get you to strike them better, maybe hit them with a little bit of a right to left ball flight, a draw, and it might even give you a little bit more distance if you can do this drill correctly. It's more of a feeling and an idea that I want you to implement into your downswing rather than a sort of specific drill or anything that we want you to go away and practice. And it's a little bit about the lead shoulder, so in my case it's the left shoulder, and it's a little bit about the movement of it from the completion of the backswing down towards the impact. So let's go through what I want you to actually feel, and then we'll explain why this might do those three things for you that we mentioned, the sort of greater distance, the better strike, and maybe that right to left ball flight. So I'm just going to sort of face the camera to begin with. And what I want you to feel, or imagine I should say, is that from address, I want you to imagine that there's a sort of a line or a wall against your lead shoulder, okay? So you can see that there on the camera. Now, if I make a good backswing, or what hopefully is going to be a good backswing, my lead shoulder will move away from that line. Okay, because we're going to rotate and it's going to move away from that line. So let me just show that, should demonstrate that for you. So you can see that line there, and as I make a backswing, you can see that my shoulder's moved away from that line, okay? So the backswing is no different, okay? We're just going to make a normal backswing, but we're trying to imagine where this sort of kind of point is, this line. In the downswing, I want you to try and feel that your lead shoulder moves slightly in front of that line that we had at address. So hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to do that once more for you. So hopefully you can see that line there. We're going to go backswing, move away from it. And as we move, we're going to try and get that lead shoulder a little bit through that line, okay? The other thing I want you to try and feel is that lead shoulder staying relatively low, okay? Not as low as it could be. We're not trying to lose height or anything like this, but I want you to feel that that movement is certainly not this, okay? So you can see the difference there. So if I do this poor one, you're going to see shoulder moves away from it, but then it goes up very quickly and never really gets in front of that line. So the feeling would be, we make our backswing, we move that shoulder in front of that line, and we try and keep it relatively low, certainly a little bit lower than my trail shoulder. From there, we can just go ahead and deliver the club. That's what I want you to try and feel, okay? It is going to be a feel because you can't see this. You're not going to stop your swing and sort of practice it. It's just a feeling for when you're hitting balls on the range, on the practice area, and you may even want to take it to the course if you find it does what it should do. So why is it going to help you? What's it actually going to do for your golf swing? Well, a couple of things. One, it's going to mean that you're probably shifting your pressure through to your lead side. In this case, it's my left side. In which case, we've got more chance of the handle being a little forwards at impact. If the handle's a little forward at impact, we're generally going to get a slightly descending blow. And if we can do that, we'll generally get a better contact. We would find that if that shoulder is doing the opposite, if it's coming up and back too early, we'd find it gets very shallow. We often find we don't get much shaft lean, and we've really struggled to flight the ball correctly. So that's why, hopefully, you'll get a better strike. The second thing it might do is it might help you work towards a right to left ball flight. Why is that? Well, without going into too much detail, we know that the earlier in the arc we hit the golf ball, the more the club is moving to the right of target. The later in the arc we hit the golf ball, the club is more likely to be moving to the left. So by shifting what you feel is your upper body a little bit more in front of the golf ball, effectively, by moving more forwards, the ball is moving more back relative to me, if that makes sense, and we hit the ball slightly earlier in the arc. As we just said, hitting it earlier in the arc means that the club path is more likely to be right. It doesn't mean it will be. We can still have it left, but it's more likely to be right. If the club path is to the right of the target, that's going to help us produce that right to left ball flight. So the second thing is there, we might be able to get that right to left ball flight. The third one I said is it might help you generate a little bit more distance. Why is that one the case? Well, we know that through impact, we have to have a feeling of pulling away from the golf ball. That doesn't mean lifting the head, that just means pulling away from the golf ball, okay? The force that we are putting through this golf club is actually working in towards our body. The upward movement of this shoulder is going to really help you deliver some speed into this thing, okay? If my shoulder from the top of my backswing goes up very quickly and back, once I get to here, there's no real room for it to go, and I'm going to find that I hit this ball very much with my hands, and that's not going to be particularly powerful. If we can get this feeling with the lead shoulder of good backswing, moves forward and stays low, I can now use this shoulder and I can pull it out the way, deliver the club, and that's going to help you achieve, hopefully, some more club head speed. So I'm not suggesting that you hit a shot on the range with this feeling, and suddenly you're going to hit this lovely, well-struck, big high draw that goes another 20 yards. But the idea of this drill might just help you do some of the things that you're trying to do on the range, okay? We know that the movement of the shoulder is absolutely vital if we're going to strike the ball correctly, and it's also vitally important to get the most energy into the golf club with your golf swing. So, let me hit a shot, and I'll show you what I mean. Hopefully. I've just got a mid-iron. That would be a pretty good club to start with. Pretty good, I'll be happy with that. I said this is a mid-iron, it is a mid-iron. I don't really want you to do this too much with the driver. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail why, but we don't really want the same move with the driver. So limit this to your irons, your sort of your iron clubs and your wedges maybe, but certainly not so much with the driver. Okay, and two pretty good shots there, pretty happy with those. Ball flight was good, strike was good, and the distance seemed pretty good. So it's not, I say, it's not so much a drill, it's just more of a feeling. Try and imagine that that lead shoulder starts somewhere against a wall, against a line. Use your imagination. Backswing as normal, but then feel it. We break through that line, and then we deliver the golf club. When I say break through that line, we don't want to go a foot past it. Just a little feeling that we're moving a little bit more forwards, and then we can deliver the club. And if we can do that, we might hit some better shots on the course. We might achieve those three things that we mentioned. They might come as a byproduct of doing this drill and having that feeling in the golf swing. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully you get some benefit from doing that. Let me know if you do. There's a comments box down there. So let me know how you got on with the drill, whether you found it helpful, useful, wherever it may be. There's also a like button, so please hit that if you did like the video. That really does help me. And you can also subscribe to my page if you would like. It's free to subscribe, so I would suggest that you do. There's a link somewhere in the description there, and that's going to just take you to a page where I say you can subscribe. And it just means that you won't miss any of the content. So thanks again for watching, and we will see you again next time.